Morning everybody. I just want to let you know before the video starts that if you notice that my hair is different from shot to shot here, it's because for for today's video here, or for this month's video, I found a new way of getting it done. So yeah, if you know it, and well, it's gonna take me a couple of days to do it this way here that I figured out. So if you notice my hair is different from shot to shot, that's why. So yeah. Well, hello everybody, Tim W. Rago here, Games, Movies, and Vlogs, even though I haven't done any games in a while. But still, how the hell are you? Now, for this month's video, welcome to the November 2022 movie haul. Now, I really want to apologize for uploading the October one, like, so damn late. I don't know why that's late as it is. I got no answer for that. So, I just want to apologize for that being as late as it is. But enough of that. So yeah, let's get on with this new movie haul, shall we? Because I got a lot of good movies for you guys this month. Milo's tea, some of the best shit you'll ever drink. I don't mean shit, but you get the idea. Anyway, okay, now for the first section of this month's movie haul, you all know I'm a huge Asylum fan, so of course I gotta keep buying their movies. You know, they're a lot better than Wild Eye, I'll tell you that much. So for the first Asylum movie, we have Super Cyclone. Now this movie I have seen a couple of times actually. I haven't really seen this very much. I mean, I'm not really a fan of disaster movies all that much, but you know, when it comes to the Asylum, yes, I'll watch their movies any day of the week because the Asylum. Anyways, one thing I do want to point out is there's two things I want to point out about this movie. Is this dude? First of all, this guy, Nick Torturo, if I'm pronouncing that name right. For those of you who are fans of Tremors, you all remember the TV series from 2001 that aired on the Sci-Fi Channel, just called Tremors the Series. Now, for those of you who remember, Nick Torturo was the Vegas mobster who wore the one-piece red bowler tracksuit. I don't know if that was One Piece or not. I gotta watch it again. But he was Bowler Track Guy. And it's so funny that the Asylum got him in one of their movies. So it was interesting to see him. And this is one of those movies, like World of Worlds 2: The Next Wave. You know, it's like a lot of times I hear, sorry, I almost stuttered. On YouTube I hear that the Asylum, like, their movies suck. Yeah, whatever. But in the end credits, they play good songs. And this movie is one of those where there's a song, Down to the Wire by, sorry, I almost belched. It doesn't say it in the, in anything on this cover, but I can't remember who sings it, but I will put the name of the song in the description below so you guys can go look it up and listen to it, because I don't know if linking that song in the description below will get me a copyright struck. So yeah, I'll just type in the name and the singer so you guys can go look it up. It's a really good song. I listen to it pretty much every day. Would I recommend this movie? Yeah, it's an Asylum movie. Of course I'd recommend it. You know, it's a disaster movie. It realizes what it is and doesn't go beyond that. Now, for the next movie, you all remember that we all really remember that disaster movie that Dwayne Johnson was in, I think, in sometime in the 2010s. It's called San Andreas. Well, the Asylum, like, there are some points where the Asylum, like, blatantly cashes in on movies. There's those few occasions, like, pretty much like 8 vs. Monster, like how 8 vs. Monster was like a cash in on, obviously, Godzilla vs. Kong, and then a cash in on Rampage at the same time. Well, they just, like, changed up a few things to make it a different movie. Well, this next movie I'm about to show you is such a clear cash in, it's not even subtle about it. Look at this, San Andreas Quake. I've never seen this movie before, but wow. Just that title. You clearly know what movie it's cashing in on here. So, wow. I got nothing. I've never seen it, but just, damn. I got nothing. I got nothing on that. But, okay, for this... I'm sorry. Now, for this last Asylum movie here, now, this is my all-time favorite Asylum movie, and for those of you who remember me from my old channel, Tim W. Leathertachi 1996, for those of you who knew me from that channel and now are subscribed to me to this one here, I used to do all creature scenes videos a lot with a lot of B movies, and I would post them up on that channel. And this last Asylum movie that I have for you this month is one of those movies. Age of Dinosaurs. Now, this is my all-time favorite Asylum movie because of the fact that you can tell this movie had a higher budget than most of their films. Because usually when it comes to an Asylum movie, like, you can tell some movies had higher budgets than most, because if there's a creature movie that they do and the creatures have more than, say, if they have more than 5 minutes of screen time throughout the course of the movie, you know the budget was really high. And this was one of them. There is literally 13.5 minutes of dinosaur scenes out of this movie. So you can tell that they really managed to get a bigger budget. And I love how I've seen people on YouTube say that Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom and Dominion stole from this because it's dinosaurs in the world of humanity here. Probably. I wouldn't doubt that, to be perfectly honest with you. And I love how, well, before I talk about the dinos, I want to talk about the actors here. You got Ronnie Cox from RoboCop, Treat Williams from The Substitute, and then this chick right here, who plays Treat Williams' character's daughter, Jillian Rose Reed, I think her name is. Now, I think she played on back when the Disney Channel was a thing, back when Disney actually gave a shit, and it was either that or some show on MTV she used to play in. So it's really interesting that they got her in here. But this movie definitely says Die Hard with Jurassic Park. It really is. If you take the Die Hard films and threw it in a blender with Jurassic Park, this is pretty much what you get. And Treat Williams and Gillian Rose Reed, they do more in this. They do more than Ronnie Cox does. Like, Ronnie Cox is basically the John Hammond of this movie, who he doesn't really do much other than they pretty much make him act like John Hammond. So, I mean, Richard Attenborough is phenomenal in, that, but in here it's like they tried to have Ronnie Cox channel his inner John Hammond, really. And there's two references to Jurassic Park that this movie makes. Number one, there's a scene in a small, like, lab area that is a obvious, like, attempt to, like, pay tribute to the kitchen scene in the first Jurassic Park. And then there's a shot where there's this guy that gets eaten, and you see the name Dodson and the release date of Jurassic Park, June 1993. So so clearly the Asylum knew what movie they were fans of when they were making this. And hell, it even says this right here. So yeah, now enough about that. Now let's talk about the actual stars of this movie, because they clearly make the dinosaurs a big thing. For those of you who have seen this, or for those of you who have seen my all dinosaur scenes video of this. Now, I'm telling you this right now, for those of you who have not seen this, I highly recommend this movie. Not just as an Asylum movie, but as a dinosaur movie. This movie is freaking amazing, to me anyway, when it comes to by Asylum standards. Now, I'm telling you this right now, this doesn't happen. This down here does not happen. There's no military in this movie at all. It's mainly LAPD. And Tyrannosaurus Rex is not the main dinosaur antagonist. Like, there's Tyrannosaurus Rex is in the movie, but it's not the main character. And there's even Spinosaurus in the movie as well, which is crazy. But the main dinosaur antagonist or antagonists in this movie is this right here, the Ceratosaurs. Because there's two of them, like one of them dies and then this second one shows up here. So it's interesting how the cover makes you think T-Rex is going to be the big bad of the movie, but mainly it's Ceratosaurus, Pteranodon, and then also Carnotaurus is in the movie. I'm surprised they didn't like at least throw Carnotaurus on the cover here. But for anyone who has played the app game, Jurassic World the game, one of the hybrids in that game is Carnoraptor, which is a mix of Carnotaurus and Velociraptor. Now, this movie came out in 2013. Jurassic World came out, well, the first Jurassic World came out in 2015. Now, in this movie, Carnotaurus is in it, but it has the body of a raptor. Like, I so think that Jurassic World ripped this movie off. I mean, took a lot of ideas from it, because in this movie you have Carnoraptors. They don't call them Carnoraptors, they're Carnotaurs, but they have the body of raptors, which is, I mean, the designs do look cool, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, you can tell that Jurassic World took a lot of ideas from this movie. So, yeah. Like I said, I would highly recommend this movie. 13.5 minutes of dinosaur scenes, and seeing Treat Williams take on dinosaurs. I mean, he's no stranger to taking on CGI creatures. I mean, for those of you who have seen Deep Rising, know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie. It's my all-time favorite Asylum film. So yeah, let's get on to the next section of this movie haul, shall we? Okay, so for the next two movies in this month's movie haul, or the next section, really. Now, these next two movies are, I call these the other movies, and the reason why I call them that is because you don't know exactly what genre to put them in, because the movie itself acts like several different genres. Now, you'll have movies that act like a superhero movie, and then they act like a crime movie, or a crime drama, sorry, or an action movie or a sci-fi movie. So it's like you don't know exactly which genre to put these in when if you're one of those people like me who separate their movies into, like, like sci-fi or movie franchise, sci-fi, action, whatever. And this first movie is one of them. Now, I Am Legend. Now, I remember when this movie came out in, I believe, 2007 or 2008. It's one of those 2 years. Now, this movie is based on a novel about a dude who is, due to some apocalyptic thing, he's the last person on Earth, and you'd think that for most of the movie, and then he finds out that other people are around. Now, there was an older movie called The Omega Man. I can't remember when that was made, either the 1960s, 70s, or I don't want to say 80s, but I've never seen that movie. I've only seen Brandon's cult movie review of it. But this movie's technically, it's another version of the novel that it's based on. It's based on the book by Richard Matheson. So I remember watching this movie a while back. I've only seen this movie like one time, and me being a Will Smith fan, I actually do enjoy this movie. The people who get infected by like the virus that kills off pretty much like all of humanity in this movie, they turn into like mutant vampire people or whatever the frick. It's really weird. It's hard to describe, really. Like, you'd have to go and watch this movie for yourself and to really know what these people turn into. And the crazy thing is the one thing I remember when the trailer for this movie came out, I always remember seeing Times Square. Like, this whole movie takes place in New York City, if it wasn't already obvious by the cover here. And I always remember Will Smith's character in Times Square. He's hunting a deer, and then all of a sudden a freaking lion jumps out from the bushes, and Times Square is like covered in high grass or whatever. So it's like that one scene I always remember. But the sad part about this movie is this dog. Man, when this dog gets infected with the virus, and Will Smith's character mercifully kills the dog by, like, he holds the dog for a minute, and then you slowly realize he's snapping the poor thing's neck when the dog gets infected with the virus. It's a really sad scene, and it's like the most depressing scene out of this whole movie. And then, like, come to find out at the end, like, Will Smith's character is a scientist who's trying to restore humanity by making a cure for the virus that was unleashed upon, that caused this apocalyptic thing in the first place. And the poor dude sacrificed, spoilers if you even give a damn, the poor guy sacrifices himself at the very end of the movie by running into a freaking horde of these things right here. Like, see right here, where my thumb is, this is like at the very end of the movie, and he runs into a horde of these things with a grenade, and it literally blows up not only himself, but the whole horde of these like these mutant people or whatever these things are. But then at the end, come to find out, there's like a sanctuary somewhere up in the mountains where there's a shitload of people still alive or whatever, and it's like, oh, they found the cure. So it's like that kind of interesting little twist here at the end. Like, I've never read the novel personally, by Richard Matheson. I mean, I've never been able to find that book anywhere. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can. Hell, even when I went to Barnes & Noble, I've never even found it. So, anyone who's read the novel, in the in the description or in the comment section below. Tell me if you guys have read the novel and seen the Omega Man and this, and see which version actually sticks more true to the book. So yeah, I love how when this movie came out in 2000, I think it's oh yeah, I think this is 2007, because I remember finding the Asylum's cash-in the movie, literally called I Am Omega. I'm not kidding. Clearly meant to, you know, cash in on this, where humanity is like, where the last dude on Earth is like this martial arts dude who is one of the characters from one of the John Wick movies. I'm not kidding. He was the bald dude that John Wick beat the living shit out of. I think it was in John Wick 3, I believe it was. I think he was bald in that movie. I think that actor was bald in that movie. But he played in the Asylum. He played in I Am Omega, and it's that dude versus a horde of zombies. Like, humanity is... It's basically a zombie movie. It's a zombie movie, but it's the last guy on Earth, and then come to find out he's not the last human on Earth, you know? So, it's kind of like that. So, would I recommend that movie as well? Yes. But this movie, I would only recommend this if either you're a fan of Will Smith like I am, or if you just like post-apocalyptic movies. I can't really recommend this movie too much. And the CG for the mutant people, or the things that humans turn into because of the virus, the CG for them is kinda... It's very hit or miss. I mean, really hit or miss. Like, there's a lot of shots where they look like they could have done it. It doesn't look like 90s CG, but it looks kind of like, man, I don't know what movie to really compare it to, but like, you can tell it's late 2000s CG. I mean, King Kong came out in the Peter Jackson remake of King Kong came out in 2005, and that movie's effects still hold up to this day. This one, like I said, I only watched this movie like once, so I really don't... All I remember, like, the CG was... It could have been better, really. But if you're, like I said, if you're a Will Smith fan or post-apocalyptic fan, then yeah, I'd definitely give this movie a watch. It's a fun movie, don't get me wrong. There's actually... Well, before I go on to, the second movie of this section, there's one section of this movie that actually I relate to greatly, because there's a scene where when Will Smith's character finds this mother and I think her son in some apartment in New York, and the son's watching the first Shrek movie, and Will Smith starts like lip syncing to like the lines of Shrek, and he starts saying them. I've done that a bunch. Hell, for those of you who follow me on my YouTube here and Instagram, have seen me do the Hell of a Boss bit, the recent Hell of a Boss post I did, so it's fun to do that. So I thought that moment was honestly very relatable. Now, for the second movie here in this section, last movie in this section, really, I really want to thank Clayton Fioriti. I'm giving you a big shout out, dude. I love your channel. I love your channel, Clayton Fioriti. Where the one that's where it's your name, where you talk well, I mean, I like that channel because you talk about a lot of Jurassic Park content, but your other channel, Dragon Curve, I love that one more because you talk about more than Jurassic Park stuff. You talk about like science fiction movies, monster movies. I love that one a lot more. And one of the recent videos that Dragon Curve did I just want to give a big shout out. I love your channel, dude. And one of the movies he did this, there's a video where he said a perfect movie to watch on Halloween, and it's this movie right here, The Crow, with Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee, which is kind of crazy. Now, this it came out in 1994, I believe. I think this came out in 1994, the same year as Alien Resurrection. which is crazy, and even stars one of the actors of Alien Resurrection in this. I don't I don't know the guy's name, but this movie is. I I have no memories of this movie. I think I tried to watch this movie like one other time a long ass time ago, but I was too young to really understand the meaning of this. But I saw Dragon Curve's video, and it really. So I thank you, Dragon Curve, for the recommendation for me getting this. Um, it's such a. It looked from that video, it looked like a great movie to watch. It really looked like a really fun movie I can sit and watch any day of the week, really, not just on Halloween. Now, a little fun piece of trivia. For those of you who live here in Las Vegas, there is the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, and for those of you also who are fans of Ghost Adventures who've been to the Haunted Museum here in Vegas, they have in that museum the actual trench coat that Brandon Lee wore while they in this movie. And rest in peace to the guy. I mean, dude, the poor guy got shot in the chest by mistake because like a piece of metal got jammed into the prop gun that they were using in it. Poor Brandon Lee, man. May this guy rest in peace for doing this movie. But what's so crazy is that they made sequels to this. There's like 2 or 3 sequels to this movie, and it's like, does it even leave it open for sequels? I have no idea, because I've never really watched this movie. So, thank you, Dragon Curve, for recommending this. I mean, I can't wait till I actually start watching it. But from what was shown in that video, it's kind of my style. Okay, well, here we go. We're back in. It's a little bit later than it was this morning, so told you with the new way I'm editing this video as I'm making it. So yeah, I told you you know, things are gonna look different. I just got done eating a little bit ago. So yeah, let's get on with the movie haul, shall we? Now this next section is a couple of movie franchises that I started collecting, and now the first one, you all remember I started buying I got the first movie, I think last month. I think it was last month I got the first movie. Now here we go with the second movie in the Hunger Games series, Catching Fire. Now, I've seen the first movie, I believe like 4 times, and I've only seen this once, so I have no memories of this at all. And you all can laugh at me in the comments for what I'm going to tell you here. The Hunger Games is what introduced me to Jennifer Lawrence. I'm not kidding. I did not know for the longest time that Jennifer Lawrence played Mystique in the X-Men franchise. So I watched Hunger Games first before watching X-Men. So I didn't know. I had no idea. But I know she's really great throughout this series, but yeah, like I said, I've only got this. I'm only at 2 here. Now this next one, you all remember I started getting the Harry Potter films. I think last month I showed off Harry Potter 3, I believe. I think it was I think it was last month. You know, I can't remember. I know I showed off Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. So I figured I would go back to the beginning here and start buying these movies because these take place before the first. This trilogy takes place before the first Harry Potter. I think like 100 years before Harry Potter. So I figure, why the hell not? I'll just go and start getting this from the beginning and just before Harry Potter. Okay. So yeah, I've never seen any of these, by the way. So, but it's part of that franchise. So I figure why the hell not? I know this segment was short, but when it comes to these movies, yeah, I got very little to say about them, really. Okay, so for this next section, we of course superheroes. Gotta have superheroes. I know people have said that this is a superhero movie. I mean, personally, I don't. I don't see it as a superhero movie, to be honest with you. But yeah, we of course gotta have superhero movies, and you all know that for the longest time, I think it's like all year ever since I've started these. Well, there was one time I couldn't find them. I was collecting the DC animated movies, and I found, and I think one time I couldn't get it, but I managed to find one that's very, I call it a throwback movie, and a throwback movie is like a sequel to a movie that was made a long time ago, or it's a movie in a series that was made a long time ago that was resurrected, kind of deal. So we got this, the next DC animated movie, Batman and Harley Quinn, and apparently, from the animation style, this movie takes place in the universe of Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, Batman, Sub-Zero, and Mystery of the Batwoman, because you got Kevin Conroy as Batman. Now, everyone always said, when it comes to animated Batman actors, the guy who does Batman's voice in the New 52 animated movies, I don't have an opinion on that because I haven't really watched them, so I don't really have any opinion on that, to be honest with you. But Kevin Conroy's Batman, I love that voice. I love Kevin Conroy's voice. The one memory I haven't seen hardly any of those movies. I've seen up to the Wonder Woman movie. That's about it. Every other one I've not seen, including this one. So, I remember seeing the trailer for this movie, and the thing that I recognized was Kevin Conroy's voice when Harley Quinn comes up and says, "Harley Quinn reporting for duty," because it's Harley fucking Quinn. And Batman just goes, "God help us." And as soon as he said that, I recognized Kevin Conroy's voice. And when it comes to animated Batman, Kevin Conroy is the Batman. I mean, he's just as good as he's just as amazing as Mark Hamill as the Joker. So, I love the fact that this timeline in the DC universe is still going, you know? So, I am seriously happy. I am really happy about that. Then the next one, I've only seen this movie one time, and I enjoyed the living shit out of it. Now we go into Marvel with the first Doctor Strange. Now, it's so funny, Benedict Cumberbatch, I remember him doing, like, animal characters. I remember him doing animal characters, like, he did the really dope as fuck dragon Smaug in the I mean, it wasn't the Hobbit trilogy, but I call it the Middle-earth franchise because, you know, I encompass both trilogies because they're part of the same thing. So, yeah, in the Middle-earth franchise, I've seen him do Smaug, and then also in the 2018 Jungle Book movie, Mowgli, Benedict Cumberbatch did Shere Khan the tiger. Itchy nose. So anyway, it was crazy seeing him come in and playing Doctor Strange, and I just love it how some British actors do an American accent. Sometimes I find it hilarious because I didn't know he was British at all. I did not know he was British until I actually heard him talk one day on an interview on YouTube, and I'm like, holy shit. And one little piece of trivia that I thought was hilarious was there's this picture of Tom Holland, Tom Hiddleston, and Benedict Cumberbatch, a photo of them together, and somebody said, "This is the most British picture I've ever seen." They ain't wrong, but I do remember seeing this, and it was a good movie. I mean, it's a Marvel movie, since when is it not good? Know what I mean? So yeah, I've seen this once. I remember being good. I can't really remember any scenes that stand out to me, to be perfectly honest, but I just remember this being a damn good movie. So, would I recommend this? Dude, it's a Marvel movie. Why wouldn't I recommend it? Are you kidding me? It's like Marvel is like a Godzilla, I compare it to Godzilla and the Asylum. I'd recommend any of their movies. I'd recommend any of them, know what I mean? And same thing with this. I'd recommend this because, well, it's a DC animated movie, and two, it's Kevin Conroy doing Batman's voice. I mean, how can you know what I mean? So, yeah, I would definitely recommend both of them. Okay, so for the next movie in this movie haul, I should have had this when I was talking about movie franchises, but the order that I'm doing these movies in is in the order of, you all can see the 3 great movie stacks of pretty much every movie that I've bought on these movie hauls since February here. So I'm doing them in order that I have them starting from left to right. So yeah, for this next movie, we have Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Now, you've seen me start collecting these franchise, and yes, finally I was able to find one of the original sequels. No joke, it hasn't taken me this long just to get this. And there's 2 things I remember about this movie. I've only seen this one time, which was like, shit man, years ago. Now, 2 things I remember about this movie. Number 1 is one of the actors, James Franciscus, who I remember from the 1969 dinosaur film, The Valley of Gwangi, where with Ray Harryhausen doing the stop motion for the dinosaurs. And he also played in one of those really shitty Italian Jaws cash-ins from the 70s and 80s called The Last Shark, and I've seen 2 movie reviews on that, and man, I am never watching that. I am never watching that movie. It is that bad. I'm really picky on shark movies, and that movie is, oh god, just those 2 reviews were enough. Now, and I feel sorry for James Franciscus that he was even in that movie in the first place, because he was in this and Valley of Gwangi, so he was capable of being in some better shit. And I don't mean shit like the movies suck. I mean, you get the fucking point. And the other thing I remember about this movie is that at some point they're, true to the title, there's like a race of humans that live underground and they worship a freaking nuke. I can't make this shit up. There's literally people in this movie that worship a nuke. Try absorbing that for a few seconds, and then go watch this movie. So, welcome to, I believe, this is, I think, day 3 of me, no, day 2, really, of me doing this. You notice my hair's probably different again. We're almost done. We got like 2 more movies to talk about in this month's movie haul. So, now for this section, now, you all know that I'm a huge Asylum fan, but at the same time, I am also a fan of the creature and science fiction movies that the Sci-Fi Channel has made by themselves that are not Asylum films. And this next movie here is one of them, Ferocious Planet. Now, I've seen this movie, I believe, twice, and I do love... The thing about the Sci-Fi Channel's movies is that they... I mean, yes, a lot of them are, cliche as all hell, but sometimes they actually do get a little creative with their plots. And Ferocious Planet is one of them, and I'm telling you this right now, some of the time when you look at a lot of these B-movies, and The Asylum does the same thing, where on the cover, and I pointed this out with Hornet, actually, I believe either last month or... I think it was last month I talked about Hornet, the Asylum's Bumblebee cash-in, where on the front cover, the creature or robot, the main non-human character doesn't look like what it doesn't even look like what it looks like in the movie. Well, in this well, on here, this is what this looks like. Well, they show it all over this cover. This is what the monster looks like in this movie. So I love the design of this thing. I mean, it's a Sci-Fi Channel movie, so the CG is, it's obvious, but at the same time, though, I think there's like a couple of shots of this thing where the CG actually looks pretty decent. And the entire premise of this movie, I think I've seen this movie like twice, and I love how John Rhys-Davies is in this movie, who, from, you guys all probably remember him as Gimli from Lord of the Rings, the dwarf soldier from Lord of the Rings, and he plays in the Anaconda films, and he's in a few Asylum films. Aside from Lord of the Rings, he's known for doing a lot of B-movies. So the whole entire premise of this movie is going on, see how the thing, it says they're not on Earth anymore, and you know, the next dimension of terror. Well, that's because the entire premise of this movie is the main characters go to another dimension, and the monster is one of the local wildlife of this dimension. And you can tell for the other dimension they went to some random ass forest and decided to just film there, because a lot of science fiction movies and shows film in this same forest. I think it was either in like Britain or Canada or some shit. The forest is very familiar for those of you who are film buffs like myself, and I really don't remember much because I haven't seen this movie in like a really long ass time, but the monster is the one thing I always remember. You know, of course, with any creature movie, the monster is the star of the show or movie, so why wouldn't it be the standout thing, right? But this monster, it's really, really cool. The roar, oh wow, they even have a close-up of its face right here. And the roar they use is the roar that was used in, they do have like original creature roars, but a lot of the time, or like half the time, they use the roar that was in King Kong 1976, Gamera the Brave, Jaws the Revenge, and The Land Unknown, and The Deadly Menace. God, The Land Unknown. You know what? I am a dinosaur fan, but the reason why that I won't even touch that movie or even watch it is because it's a little side tangent here, I apologize, but it deals with the roar that this thing uses. They don't really give it a name in the movie. I don't remember them ever naming this thing. But when it comes to The Land Unknown, I won't even watch that movie because, like, the creature effects in the movie are actually rather good. Like, there's a elasmosaur, and for those of you who don't know what an elasmosaur is, it's basically a bigger version of the plesiosaurus here. So there's an elasmosaur puppet in the movie that actually looks good, and then there's two giant monitor lizards in the movie. Like, one of them I think is a Komodo, but the main standout thing about that movie is the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the movie that was portrayed by a guy in a suit. Now that T-Rex, oh god, it's like the worst looking T-Rex I've ever seen in a dinosaur movie. It would have been so much better if it was done if that was the only creature that was done in stop motion. Like, that suit, oh my god, oh my god, it's really not that good. I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, every other creature in the movie looks great for, I think that movie came out in 1957. Yeah, the movie came out in, I think it was 1957. But it's just this T-Rex is the only not good looking thing in the movie. Everything else looks great. Every other creature looks fantastic, except this freaking T-Rex. And it's like, that's the origin of that infamous roar, and roar that has been used countless times over the years in cartoons and TV shows and movies. But it's like, did the origin of that roar have to come from that ugly ass thing? Like, Jesus. Oh, if you hear that noise in the background, that's my laptop. Sorry about that. But yeah, this monster in this movie uses that roar, and yeah, like, would I recommend this movie? I would. There are a lot of the Sci-Fi Channel's movies I would recommend because, again, these movies actually care. They actually give a shit on being fun, you know what I mean? They don't try to shove the wrong side of reality up your ass. That's why I'm such a big advocate for these movies, because this was back in I think this came out in 2010 or 2011. I think it was 2010 this movie came out. But yeah, this was one of those movies back in the 2010s here. I know this movie came out in the 2010s. I just couldn't remember the year. This was back when movies actually gave a damn or gave a fuck. You know what I mean? They don't try to shove the wrong side of you know what? I'm not going to repeat that, but seriously, like, a lot of the times I look through some of these movies that I buy and it's like they were fun, you know, and the Asylum still doesn't care about societal bullshit. They still don't give a damn, which is great, which is absolutely great. I really applaud the Asylum for actually sticking to their guns and doing whatever they want to do. Something movie studios nowadays, the big ones that their movies get released theatrically, should take some notes from. Like, seriously, like Adam Wingard with Godzilla vs. Kong, anybody? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, I'm not going to go through all that big-ass thing, you know, talking about one movie, but, seriously, it's, you know, every time I, look at the year where some of these movies come out, it's, you know, it just reminds me of a better time for the film industry, you know what I mean? But I would recommend this movie. The monsters, what do you call it? I think they do show them a good amount, you know? But I would recommend this. It's a fun B movie with a very interesting plot. So, yes, I would recommend it. Now, we got one more movie to go, and you are all going to love this movie. Love this last movie I found. Everyone knows about it. It's been talked about God knows how many times throughout the years, but I'm gonna talk about it again anyway. Okay, so for our last movie in this month's movie haul, I'm gonna take you back to I wouldn't really call it simpler time, really, as far as I've heard, but anyways, I don't know. Everybody knows this movie, Alien. Ridley Scott's honestly the best movie that this man's ever made. Kind of like a remake of It, the Terror from Beyond Space, a movie monster that is so damn popular. But as you can see here, this version that I have has the theatrical version and the director's cut, which is the extended version of this movie. Now, everybody remembers like that this movie got so damn popular that James Cameron stepped in. This movie is actually pretty slow, but the slowness works in this movie's favor. But this came out in 1979, and then, was it 79? Hold up. 7 years later, James Cameron, who needs no introduction whatsoever, frickin' Titanic, Avatar from 2009, and the upcoming Avatar 2. God, I can't wait for that movie to come out. So he decided to come in and crank Alien up to 11 with Aliens. And the reason why I was talking about this for this cover specifically is because I managed to find Aliens with the same cover. And from what this says, from what the cover shows here, it has the theatrical version and the special edition, which I believe... that was stupid, is the extended cut of this movie. And please let me know down there in the comments if Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection have the same thing as this, because I know of Alien 3, there is the assembly cut, which is the extended version of that movie. And Alien Resurrection, you know what, I've never heard of an extended cut for that movie. I mean, there probably is. So I love the fact that I managed to get this version. And Aliens, I love this, of course, better than this. I mean, I love both movies all in general, but I love Aliens more because it's more action oriented, whereas like the first movie's more horror. This movie is action with some horror in it. But I just love James Cameron. He is a fabulous director. I mean, you see his filmography, and the guy is just as good as Steven Spielberg or Matt Reeves. Like, he knows his shit. And the thing is, the main highlight of this movie is, of course, the big crazy bitch on the cover here, the Alien Queen. Now, this puppet was freaking huge. I mean, this thing was, oh my god, this thing was just massive. The puppet was freaking huge, dude. Yeah, everybody, and you guys, of course, know that. I'm only saying that for those of you who are not familiar with this franchise. So yeah, I had the very fortunate pleasure to see the puppet in the movie prop experience we have here in Las Vegas. Now, I think that's the same Alien Queen puppet from this movie, because the Alien Queen does show up again in the first Alien vs. Predator movie, so I think the prop that they have on display in the movie prop experience is the one from this movie, I think. Either that or AVP, I'm not entirely sure, to be perfectly honest with you. But anyone who has not seen this, both movies, anyone who has not seen these movies needs to see it. I am so happy I found it in the collector's edition version that has the theatrical cut and the special edition version, because I've had this movie on a bootleg for like a long ass time, and you know, it's a bootleg, so the quality, you know, is bootleg quality. So yeah, I am so happy I managed to find this movie with this kind of cover and having both versions. So yeah, I really hope one of these days I can find Alien 3 with this cover. Like, if I can get the original 4 Alien films with these collector's edition covers, that will be dope as fuck. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you all enjoyed the November movie haul. Again, I really am sorry that the October one was posted so damn late. So yeah, I hope some of you out there start collecting, start buying some of the movies that I've gotten, and take an interest in science fiction, hopefully. So yeah, please be sure to like, share, and consider subscribing. And also, come follow me on Instagram. The link to it is up there on the bottom right corner of the banner. It is LizardMan2021. And also, I have a DeviantArt for those of you who have one as well. I post some kaiju fan art, even though I haven't posted anything in quite a long time, because when it comes to art, I haven't been able to get any art done, which really sucks, but thank God, you know, the page is still up there. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. This is Tim W. Rago, and I'm gonna say peace out, everybody, and I'll see you all in whatever video I decide to do next. Just gonna end this video with a shot of Age of Dinosaurs here, because why the hell not?